Denel Chair insisted that there is no wrong deal in Denel Asia deal, and it is absolutely wrong to say that the parastatal has been captured. Our reporter Chelsea Lott spoke to Denel Chairman Daniel Mantsha.
I think we are all aware of what has been written about Denel in relation to the joint venture which they have established, a company called Denel Asia. It's a joint venture with VR Asia. The story that is being peddled around is that the members of Gupta family are shareholders of Denel Asia through VR Asia. And that story is false. It's unfounded. No members of the Gupta family are shareholders of either Denel Asia or VR Asia. It is clear that assessing objectively the reporting by certain media house, there is an agenda to demonize the state-owned companies as being led by people who are incompetent, corrupt, people who are captured by inter alia by the members of the Gupta family. And that narrative is unfounded and must be rejected.
On the part where you clarified the VR Laser Asia, that it will be funding the operations and business development activities of the joint venture and that Denel will provide its product technology through a manufacturing license, can you just please give us some more clarity on that?
Well, strange enough, you have a potential partner in the name of VR South Africa or VR Asia, who is prepared, as explained by the acting chief financial officer, putting 100 million down so that Denel can be able, through a joint venture, obviously, establish its presence in the Asia-Pacific market without incurring any cost and without spending a cent. Yet, you find institutions like National Treasury not coming out in support of a transaction of that matter, which then assist a state-owned company to reduce the sovereign exposure, because the more Denel does well, as the results have shown that our export market is accounting now for 58% of our revenue. The results are showing that the future of Denel is in the export market. Here we have a joint venture where Denel is going to aggressively improve its revenue from those markets through a partnership where Denel is only providing its product and its IP is secured, and the other partner in the joint venture has got an exposure for financial commitments. Such partnership is being written about in the media as a capture of Denel by members of the Gupta family, which I've already indicated is nonsense. So going forward, as we have explained to members of parliament, the strategy of Denel is to partner companies in order to aggressively build its business in the export market. So that is the main rationale of the partnership agreement that we have entered with VR Asia to establish Denel Asia.
And can you please comment on the joint venture that was formed in compliance with the Public Finance Management Act and that was needed to enable Denel to penetrate the lucrative Asian markets?
Look, to start with, we are a country governed by law. We're governed by the Constitution and the law. We have got the law that governs Denel, which is called PFMA. PFMA required Denel in the event of forming a joint partnership or acquiring an asset or acquiring a company, to follow a due processes. And the due processes set out by the PFMA is that Denel should first issue a pre-notification to both National Treasury and the Department of Public Enterprise. In relation to the current joint venture that we're talking about, Denel did, in fact, on the 29th of October, send a pre-notification application to National Treasury and DPE, explaining that it intended to have a strategic or a joint venture with a company via Asia, and disclose who are the owners of VR Asia. And again, after the pre-notification on the 11th of December, Denel sent a PFMA application to both National Treasury and the Department of Public Enterprise. That is the law that governs Denel in the event of forming a joint venture. The very same law empowers Denel in the event that there is no response from the executive authority after 30 days. Denel can then proceed as if the permission has been granted. So what Denel did, in fact, was to comply with the law. All of us, be Department of Public Enterprise, National Treasury, everybody else, were subject to the Constitution and the law. And the law in this regard is the PFMA, which we have 100% complied with.
And just the last question is that in regards to the fact that there was no response from the National Treasury for over 30 days, up to, as mentioned, 90 days, do you think that this was perhaps an act of sabotage?
Well, I think I'll reserve the answer until the National Treasury appear before the Portfolio Committee, because the Portfolio Committee today also took a position that they still want to hear from National Treasury. They will have to explain why they have taken more than 90 days without replying. But what I can say today is that we have received a letter around May to June, where certain indications were made that the applications were received in December and there were changes, and there were a number of reasons which were given. And our question remained why those explanations were not given within either 30 days or within 90 days. I think only when National Treasury explained themselves on why it took them so long to reply, I think Denel will be in a better position to comment thereafter. So we reserve our comment until such time.